All right, well, today's Spec Corvette project is going to be to respray the black car. I built this car back in 2018. It's 2024 right now, and it's been through a little bit. I was actually out of commission for a little while after I blew the engine, and I've been racing the silver car since then. You can see I've got some different panels on the back. Those came from the donor car. Getting ready to spray this thing with Plastidip, which I don't know if that's a good idea or not. It's I don't know, maybe get your popcorn ready and let's see how this thing comes out. Also, I didn't really have a spray booth, and last time I tried to paint something inside of my shop, I got a lot of like dirt boogers all over it, so I went ahead and bought this $400 inflatable spray booth. So we'll see kind of how this goes. Again, more popcorn. It's kind of like one questionable decision after another. But anyway, kind of excited to see how this comes out. Heard about Plastidip from somebody racing lemons quite a while back, so I figured I'd give it a shot. First time, we'll see how it goes. All right, well, I'm definitely still not a painter, but the car came out okay. No tiger striping that I can see, since this is metallic. That's kind of what I was worried about. But there are a lot of boogers in the paint, which is a bummer considering I'm in a paint booth, and that was the whole point. But I think some of the, something about this dip, this Plastidip, it kind of like makes these little fluffy Plastidip balls that if you move around too quickly, they can kind of get stirred up in the air. So I think what ended up happening is some of them got up in the air and flew around and then just got into the paint. There are no bugs. There weren't any bugs, anything like that last night, but I was constantly trying to get stuff off of the paint. And in some cases I just lost. So anyway, it wasn't too difficult to spray, although kind of stressful. You can see more boogers. That's a big, really big batch of them back here. Kind of stressful to spray. Obviously I have to figure out my environment, but it came out okay. Oh, there were a couple places like this headlight cover. It did not like whatever it was painted with underneath. Also, over here in this door, I did some fiberglass repair, and there was some just whatever is, I think I sanded through some of it. I sprayed it with automotive primer, but something about whatever it was, it just didn't like. So I'm gonna have to come back around and fix that. Anyway, good enough for a race car for the moment, although not quite as nice as what I was hoping for. Oh, one more thing. As I was trying to unmask this last night, there are a couple areas where you're supposed to unmask it while it's still wet. It's like wherever there's not like a decent sized gap between whatever you have taped off and what you're spraying. And so you're supposed to peel the tape when it's wet. So I went around and I did that, but then I came around to this frame right after I did this window, and you can see it started to peel the dip away from the paint underneath. So I just stopped. Figured I was gonna have to come back today with a razor blade and make sure that I cut all of those seams so that I can peel the tape away. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Anyway, I don't know, not the best, not the worst, I guess I'd say. We'll see how it performs in track duty. I figured out where the little boogers were coming from falling in the paint. So you kind of look up here in the seams, you can see a collection of stuff. Yeah, there it falls off. So I had work lights hanging in here because I was painting it last night, and found that they collected on a lot of that stuff. So basically what was happening is that stuff was collecting up top and then falling down. So I think the paint booth may have actually been worse than just spraying with no booth at all and risking the occasional bug or something like that. Got to figure out how to better evacuate the airborne paint up here. if I want to get a cleaner job. All right, making a quick pass to kind of show you the finished product. It definitely leaves a little bit to be desired, but it's not bad looking actually, and I'm finding that the Plastidip is pretty durable. It is kind of a rough texture, so certain things like you get bits of rubber. Let's see if I can find some here. That when you're racing on the track that normally get into the paint, and they're not so bad to rub out when you have a smooth finish, but this kind of like this flat finished Plastidip, you get a little bit more in the pores. So that's a little bit of a downside, but I'm kind of impressed by the strength. So when I raced this at Sonoma, I had a little bit of contact with Tim Moser, and it was right in this area. These were pre-existing, right? What was underneath, but I was kind of impressed that the Plastidip didn't really tear. I've got a couple of little gouges here that went down in, but it actually held its own pretty well. It's fairly durable, so probably would protect paint and stuff like that from some chipping and whatnot. It is, as I mentioned before, it didn't like some of the finish that I had down below, so I went ahead and covered that up with a decal because I didn't really feel like redoing the door. So I don't know, jury's still out on this. I'm not sure if I'll continue to do this for the long run, but I may give it one more try now that I've done it once, and see if I can get it to land a little better without the boogers and stuff like that in it. And then maybe report back, so stay tuned. I'll let you know kind of how the rest of the journey with Plastidip goes.